Our first guests are highly credited multidisciplinary artists whose works center BIPOC narratives. Their latest project, Concrete Rose, is a documentary short that illuminates the intersections of incarceration, rehabilitation, and societal reintegration through the journey of a Marcus Garvey Supportive Housing Programs Director, Christina Green. The short film reveals resilience and humanity that flourishes amidst adversity, offering a compelling narrative of redemption, second chances, and the power of community support. And here to share more is Concrete Rose's director, producer Amanda M. Ramírez, and associate producer and interviewer Lauren B. Martin. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for choosing your work deliberately, right? I know that it's now circulating throughout the festival circuit,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Because that within itself is a task.
Yes, it is.
Right? And then there's also the storytelling aspect of it, right? So let's just start with like a little bit of your background so that our viewers can familiarize themselves with you. And then let's lead into how you chose this particular topic and this person.
Okay, so I'll do the Reader's Digest version. So when I started dance class when I was about 2.5, 3 years old. I was a big Shirley Temple fan. You know, Saturday mornings after cartoons. And I started heavily dancing roughly 6 days a week. And then
You were tap dancing?
tap dance, jazz,
Rhina.
point. Yeah, I did it all. And leading up to my auditions for 2 New York universities in the dance program, I, for lack of a better word, blew out my knee.
Wow.
And the rehabilitative, so I went to one audition it was one of those situations that you can make it to the school, not the program. Went through the program, struggled through that, and I said, it was heartbreaking, but I had to switch gears, basically. And then I landed at a different university, went in as an English major. But what led me to the theater department was they needed someone because the theater department at the time was doing this whole festival of Latin American playwrights. So Garcia Lorca, Garcilaso de la Vega, and they wanted someone, they wanted representation.
Right.
So I said, okay, I did it, and then I switched my majors and my minor, much to my parents' chagrin. I became a theater major, but emphasis on stage management. So I'm not used to this. I'm used to being behind the camera.
Right.
And then became an English major. And then what led me to this was basically a chance meeting at my friend Gia Albergo, who is the production designer, and she's an interior designer. And we had this, in August, this get together. And then a mutual friend said, hey, I would like to bring my Aunt Christina over. Can I come? Sure, no problem. And then I don't know how the conversation led into this, but Gia goes, you got it, she's fantastic. You got to talk to Christina. I said, okay. And then she told us her story, and I work as a freelance producer on a lifestyle show similar to this.
Right.
And she goes, you should have her on the show. And I thought in my head, this is a lot to have her just sit down right now and speak about it. And then it took a while. And I told her, I said, if you trust me, I would like to interview you. And then I was trying to figure out how to do it. And then Lauren, I met, but I actually worked as a stand-in on an episodic. I was actually her stand-in years ago.
You were her stand-in?
I was her stand-in on an episodic years ago. And then she was on the lifestyle show that I worked for. And then we connected. And then it was just one of those situations where
it sounds like it just organically
organically
morphed itself.
And I'm going to let her take over.
Yes.
Organically.
Well, yeah, because we're going to get into Lauren, because this seems like almost like a passion project for you. But I want to share with our audience a little bit of your background. I mean, because you've been in the big leagues over there, and soap operas, All My Children, right? And you did Emmy-winning Anacostia,
yes,
right? And I'm trying to name them all. What do we have? Cosby?
Yeah.
Cosby?
Yeah.
Taking it back?
Taking it back, yeah. So I've been, my daytime career started off with Another World, and then from Another World, As the World Turns, which a lot of people connected to that role because that was the sort of the one that kind of put me on the map. I played a breast cancer survivor on that show. And then from there, Guiding Light, and then All My Children as well. But through the last couple of years, what has been really wonderful is a lot of predominantly black and brown young gay men who watch the stories, as we called them, with their grandmas and with their, you know, their tias and all of that. They, while the soaps were kind of moving in a different direction, they were writing podcasts, and I was really blessed to be brought back on the show Pride, on the show Empire, and then Anacostio, which it's garnered me a couple of awards, which has been really lovely.
Well, congratulations
on
that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's challenging just to live off of this,
for sure,
you know,
for sure.
as a career, right?
Well, you know, and as a filmmaker myself, and
right.
then as somebody who's been a content creator, when Amanda came to me with this story, we obviously have become friends during my working as a stand-in, being the person standing in for me, and then of course doing the Donna Drake show. And then just knowing a lot of people in community, and when this came up, my personal connection to the show, my father was a judge for all of my life, and at the same time, my brother was incarcerated.
Wow.
So my brother was a heroin addict, and you know, since then lives in a facility because of the damage that his drug use has done to his brain. So knowing how the two kind of paths are crossing about what happens to people.
Those are total opposites.
Right. Growing up within a semblance of the law, right. And living in a household
rigid.
With that, and then having your sibling in a very, 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 in a maximum security prison in a very different world.
Wow.
Understanding the damage of how drug use can kind of disintegrate a family. Also, a lot of the work that I do with St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction, getting a sense of empathy for IV drug users as well. And really, after meeting Christine, we had a Zoom meeting. I was in my bathrobe, she was on the other side of this, and I said, you know, this woman, first of all, is fire. She's got so much passion. When you go through things like she has, being a sex worker, being an addict, having a substance abuse disorder, and then coming through all of that, taking that skill set, and learning that, one, she had the strength to get through that. Two, she had an opportunity that was in front of her, having to save her face, her family.
Yes.
And then getting to show people what it's like when you get out of jail and you've got $40 in a Metro card.
Right.
How do you start over?
Yeah.
You know, and so her story, I wish that my brother had a foundation like Osborne. And I
Osborne, and let's just introduce Osborne to our viewers because they don't know what Osborne is.
Sure.
Right? It's actually a facility that helps them.
It's an advocacy group, the Osborne Association, and they're located in Brooklyn. And they actually opened a new residential facility in the Bronx. So, in the midst of trying to get all this together, they were expanding, which was exciting for them, and they were very, very welcoming. We actually had one of Christina's coworkers help us out on the set. We actually had one of the residents be our crafty. He was like our set uncle for the day, and everybody just chipped in when we were shooting this, you know, on behalf of Christina.
And she actually works at this location, and I just, you know, if you don't mind, I want to share with our viewers because you said, you know, she was a sex trafficking worker, right?
Yeah.
She was a madam, you know, according to what I, and so that, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that that's a lifestyle we encourage anybody to follow, but that within itself has its own skill set because there's organizing and finances and calculating
and she was protecting the women too.
Sure.
That's why the reason why she took it on, because a lot of the people that, you know, worked for her had substance use disorder, so she wanted everybody protected. And that's an odd way to protect, an odd way to be a boss.
Right.
But with that being said, and to your point, one of the things that we mentioned in the documentary, and you know, we can make jokes about it, we can say all that, but when you take someone who may not have a skill set, may not have your, you know, I'm good at the Dewey Decimal System or filing or what have you, what she was able to do is say, okay, I've managed people, I've managed funds, I've done A, B, C, and D. How do I take that skill set, polish it up, and with some chutzpah and some drive, figure out my second chapter and my second act. And this is one of the things why her story is so inspiring. I mean, when we talk about recidivism and people wanting people to not go back to jail, one of the first ways to make that happen is to give people a sense of self and something to do and to show up and earn an honest dollar, a safe dollar every day.
Yeah, no, I was in. I was all in watching it, right? Because aside from the transformation that you guys captured, right? And also just her authentic storytelling style. She there was no filter. She was kind of like, nope. I did drugs, I had children, I did all kinds of, and she got incarcerated, and while she was incarcerated, she worked on herself, and she was able to take everything that she had lived in her first chapter, as you would like to refer to, and apply it into this next chapter. And not only is she doing it for herself, she's doing it for the others. Next generation of individuals who are re-entering into society.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah, and I think, and I hope, I believe that, Amanda's drive for bringing this to fruition after hearing this story, and I think all of us collectively, it's really about an idea of empathy. Not everybody starts off on a straight and narrow, and you are not defined by the last mistake that you made.
Right.
People do deserve, don't they?
Yeah,
they deserve a second chance, and sometimes a third chance. But when people are really, really trying, and what Christina has done and Osborne has done, and hopefully what we get to share with people through this wonderful film that Amanda has spearheaded, is that to have an empathy about what this looks like, and that there is hope, and that programs like this are so necessary if you want to help people rebuild their lives. Programs like Osborne and projects like this that actually showcased real change are really important.
Right, that actually showcase the transformative outcome, right? And that can only happen when you have that level of support.
That's right.
Right, which is what you're highlighting, is that support system.
And that was the goal. The goal was to show that no one knows what anyone goes through.
Right.
No one knows anybody's pain. So when you first meet her, that's the last thing you're thinking about, that she was dealing with very adult issues from the time she was about 11 years old up until 2016. And then she gets released right before COVID. I think it was mid-2019. So that whole adjustment, and then dealing with this, and then she's basically working her way up, and she's living by example. And that's why everybody that it seems that we ran into in the facility, the resident facility, they adore her because she's that person. She lives by example. And it kind of like, I had to step up my game. Because then I'm getting like, imposter syndrome. Like, can I do this?
Right.
Can I frame this up the way it deserves to be framed up? So that was like my torture, because everyone was like, we were done, like, yay, we're wrapped. And I'm going, oh no, I gotta sit there and look at all of this, all of this footage and maintain the integrity of it, and to actually lift it up in a way, but not make it too showy. Ultimately, it's her story.
Right.
It's her telling it. And we as a crew were there just to frame it up as best we could.
Well, I got to tell you, you did it.
Thank
you
you.
did it. You did it. Because
Thank you.
really, it's about remaining engaged in the story,
Right.
and taking something from it. And there was something that really resonated with me in, you chose the right word, in our society being hopeful, because God knows we need more of that. We
Indeed.
absolutely need
And
more
she's
of
living
that.
proof, and the people
Right.
that are there are living proof. Like I said, craft services, he's a resident. And I was like, and I thought he worked there, and he's like, no, I'm just here to help Christina. And, he watched over everybody. He made sure like food was there. You've worked
Right.
on a set, and he was just so diligent about it. And it basically, it was the inspiration was Christina. She inspired the whole set.
This
Right.
is beautiful. We're out of time. I know. I hate when that happens.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's a good chat.
It was a good chat. It was a nice little sprinkle to entice our viewers into wanting to learn more, right? So Once again, Amanda Ramírez, Concrete Rose's director and producer, Lauren B. Martin, associate producer and interviewer, and again, we were discussing their short film, Concrete Rose, that is on the film festival circuit. However, if you're interested in more information, you can visit Linktree at Concrete Rose Film. All right, stay tuned. There's more open after the break.